Declan, you work for Acrow Group
Yep.
currently, and you've got business units all over the country. Yeah.
Yep.
So, what are some of the challenges you run into managing health and safety in multiple locations?
Well, to give you a bit of an overview, right? So the group I'm with, we have two scaffold companies. We've got Sky High, so residential scaffold company based out of Christchurch and Auckland.
Yep.
Tube and clip, quick up, quick down, high turnover, really, really good returns.
Awesome.
We've got Acrow, obviously.
Yep.
So Auckland, Hamilton, Palmerston North. We've got an industrial division that works kind of out of Tuckero and Taupo. We've got Wellington, we've got Christchurch. So doing quite well. Mentioned Pammy
Well
as well.
done.
I think I mentioned Pammy. Doing quite well. We've got direct scaffolding supplies for all your scaffolding needs. We've got
Contact Declan.
them in Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch. So
Yep.
about to get a lot of ring lock into Wellington. So anybody in Wellington listening, if you need ring lock scaffolding, hit up Macca. He'll be a man to take care of you.
Yo.
And then we have Up to It Access Hire, which is based out in East Tamaki, similar to Access Man, that kind of stuff. So doing all height for hire equipment.
I was trying to keep count of how
Yeah.
many locations you said. I've already lost count. So.
Yeah, so roughly we've got 13, I think, across the country. Different locations, different branches, some same location, but different business units kind of everywhere. I think the biggest challenge for us is standardizing.
Right.
So trying to make something that's not best for business, best for group, has kind of always been my mindset when I've gone into the company. It's what's not best for business, but what's best for group, because I can focus on what's best for Sky High.
Yeah.
Because it's effectively right. It's two,
But
three,
there's
four
different
lifts, right?
markets, though, isn't it? It's resi,
Correct.
commercial.
Correct. But at the same time, the risk is the risk. So a fall at 8 meters is
Yeah.
effectively a fall at 16 meters, 20 meters. You can die, right? For me, risk is risk.
Fair.
So my evaluation is what's best for group,
Yep.
and it's trying to put in controls that are the most reasonably practical for group rather than by business unit.
Yeah.
So dropping a swivel or dropping a double or dropping a tube on somebody's head is never going to be good, right?
100%.
So how do you manage that risk accordingly and effectively across all of our group rather than just in Acrow?
Okay.
The challenge that we have is and I'm calling a spade for my business, we have a varying different level of competency. We have a very different level of risk tolerance and risk acceptance. From a client point of view, when you get out of, and I'm more than comfortable saying this, when you get out of Auckland, when you get out of Wellington, you get out of Christchurch, you start into, and this is with big contractor, I won't name them, but this is
Please
with
don't.
big construction companies.
Yeah.
Their risk tolerance becomes a lot more in comparison to companies in Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch.
Interesting. So you moved to the suburbs, and suddenly
And
people forget health and safety.
You walk
Interesting.
outside the big cities, and it just becomes you're out of sight, you're out of mind.
Yeah.
And they're big companies where their hubs are in the main cities, and when you're out of sight, you're out of mind. So once you go into one of those jobs, I mean, the people there don't really give a fuck, and it's just like put it up and take it down as quickly as you possibly can in the unsafest manner. They don't say that,
Of course they
but
wouldn't.
that
Yeah.
is exactly what they expect.
It would be illegal to say that.
100%.
Yeah.
But the mentality is that should be down in 6 hours, not 12.
Wow.
And that's a challenge.
Yeah.
So
So how do you manage that across your group?
So
You've got
that's what we're trying to
16
do.
locations, right?
And that's what we're trying to do, right? We're
Yeah.
trying to actually standardize what's best for group rather than what's best for business.
Okay. So you
So we're-
standardize a set of procedures. Doesn't mean a guy on site's going to follow it, is he?
Correct.
Yep.
So what we're currently doing is we are facilitating workshops across the entire country of 450 people. So I'm accountable for 450 people in our business, right? So we are doing workshops to get a baseline of everybody's understanding of how we currently manage our hazards,
Yeah.
what their understanding of the risk actually is,
Yep.
what their understanding of their responsibilities are at the very bottom levels, so the doers, so the guys who are working on the coal face, doing the doing, what is their understanding of their responsibility?
Yeah.
The next step is what is their needs? What do you need from your leader? So your frontline leader, your leading hand, your foreman, whatever you want to call it. What is your needs? Then we move on to the next level. You're a leading hand, right? What is your understanding of risk evaluation, risk tolerance?
Yeah.
So the controls we put in place to manage the hazard to stop the risk. What is your understanding of that?
Yeah.
And everyone you'll see is
So what you're telling me is it essentially does boil down back to the people.
100%.
Yeah.
So you can put
You can-
everything in place, right?
systems,
But
procedures.
it's a decision.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a personal responsibility. And what we are currently seeing is, and I'd be pretty confident saying, when you go to any construction company and that isn't a main contractor who doesn't have supervisors, managers, project managers, blah blah blah. When you get the guys who are on the coalface doing the doing, they will not understand what their responsibilities are. So we are assessing the baseline to actually develop an internal program to upskill our staff on what their actual responsibilities are. So we're moving. We want to move away from site safe. We want to move away from construct safe because they don't bring any benefit to the industry.
Right.
They fucking tick a box.
Yeah.
They charge you a shitload of money to go and do a course to get onto a job with CRL or go onto a job and get on with Fletcher's.
Yeah.
But what value do they bring?
Fair call. That's actually an interesting point. Yeah.
What value do they bring, man? I can sit down behind a laptop and do my refresher on site safe and go through it 3 times
Yeah.
and fail every fucking time and then go back and do it a 5th time and pass. What fucking value does that bring to the industry? They talk about bringing value to the industry. You don't bring fuck all.
Yeah.
For example, like Chaz and Zay go off, oh, we need you to do this, this, and this to get onto CRL. And I'm sorry I'm calling them out, like, but you go this, this, and this and go CRL. I was like, well, we have got people who have English as a second language.
Yeah.
So it's not our problem. If you want to go and translate and Tagalog, it's us. They need to speak English to work in our country.
Okay.
I completely disagree because we have leading hands. If they can't understand English, they shouldn't work in New Zealand. I'm like, well, we have leading hands who speak fluent Tagalog who do our briefings in Filipino to get in Tagalog to get them over the line.
Yeah.
I mean,
But that's unacceptable.
What difference does that make? But they will only deliver their courses in English. And I have asked them to try and help, and they've said no. If I do it for them, they'll take it off me. But why the fuck would I do their job for them?
Yeah.
That pissed me off.
Yeah. Right. Interesting. So
I mean, they're like what? They're governmental businesses, right? Site Safe and Construct Safe, right? They're benefiting the industry. Show me the benefit.
I'd love to see the benefit too.
I would love to see the benefit of what they're doing.
Yeah, I've actually never thought about that
Because I would love to see how they measure it.
Yeah, I've been on the site safe course as well, a couple of times. Yeah, obviously.
How many times do you fall asleep and wake up? A couple. No offense to anybody delivering courses in site safe. I fucking love you guys. You're actually doing God's work, but at the end of the day, what you're doing isn't adding value.
Yeah.
It's a tick box exercise to get you to work for a main contractor, or it's a Fletcher's, or the Hawkins, as whoever are requiring you to do a site safe course that is a tick box exercise that brings no value to the industry.
Mate.
What Fletcher's are currently doing with their whole reset and protect and all that kind of stuff, upskilling, we attended one of their risk things about 9 months ago. That is beneficial to the industry.
Well,
more people should be involved in that. That is really beneficial to the industry.
So what are they exactly doing?
So we went, because we do a lot of work with Fletcher Living.
Yep.
We attended effectively, it was like, I can't remember what they called it, but it was like a risk containment or a risk control verification seminar kind of thing in Ellerslie Racecourse, where the general manager of Fletcher Living delivered all the presentation on what's tolerable, what's not intolerable, how do you lead safety conversations.
Yeah.
And they've done that across all their businesses and across all of Fletcher Building. That's beneficial to the industry because you're giving people tools.
Yeah.
What tools does SiteSafe give you?
You go through a course on health and
safety. You get a card to say you can work in construction.
Correct.
And you can clip all this up all you want. That is the brutal honesty of it. It is a tick box exercise to get you working for a main contractor. And it is not acceptable. It is not any value add to the industry.
Who holds them to account? Who do they answer to?
I would love to know that answer.
I don't know either.
Neither do I. But I would love to see how they measure success.
How do they measure success? That's actually a valid point. How do they measure success?
Is it beyond the people they pass?
Number of cards they've issued?
Yeah, but I would also challenge that and say how many people have they influenced? How many people have they influenced in the industry to actually make them better?
Yeah.
How do you measure that? Because what we've talked about is their unwillingness to help us.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be ones who help.
They
upskill and benefit the industry, but there was no help.
Interesting insights on site safety.
But I will say one thing on the Chaz and Zed side, that is the reason, so I attended a seminar, that is the reason we are shifting from quantitative to qualitative reviews of our leading indicators. That was very insightful when it brought a guy over from America for a webinar. That was fantastic. But their Construct Safe and all that stuff is a tick box exercise where they don't do it to actually benefit the industry.
Yeah.
Because what is our industry? It is a shit ton of foreigners. Yeah, both of our hands go up, right? Yeah, how many Filipinos work for Electrics, Summit,
Yeah.
fucking Acrow,
Yeah.
right? How many people work? How many foreigners work on all this? But they won't actually do it in a language that they understand to give them the opportunity to pass and benefit the industry further. We're limiting ourselves by just being an English-speaking country.
Yeah. Somebody's got to look into that.
100%.
Yeah. Now, thanks for all your insights on that, mate. That was eye opening.